Hello and welcome to WRTC Today. We're live on Friday, July the 10th, and we're coming to you from the Wyboston Lakes Resort in Bedfordshire, which of course is where the headquarters for WRTC is. I can't believe it, we're at the penultimate day now because the contest starts tomorrow. That's Saturday at 12 p.m. UTC, 1 p.m. UK time. But today marks a really important day because there was the site draw. For the first time, all of the competitors and the referees got to find out where they were going to be. Now, straight after, and we'll be coming to that later, of course, by the way, but straight after our first show on Wednesday, there was a lovely cocktail party for the non-competing partners of competitors and referees called the Ham Widows Ball. And our cameras were there to have a look. Just a lovely look at that wonderful ball. And that was just one of the things that the first person we're going to talk to today is responsible for organising, because Georgina M6YGL, you are the head of hospitality.
I am.
And I bet you're glad that you're we're in the mood now and everything. So I'm going to ask you first, how do you feel right now? You're a few days in, you had that wonderful ball, we've done lots of other things. Well, how do you feel?
It's a little bit unbelievable, really, the feeling, if I'm honest. When you've been planning for something so long and it's so huge and there's a lot of responsibility on you, you just feel like it's not real.
Is it kind of a relief, I suppose, that when things go right and everything and all that planning? I should explain to everybody that you are Mark's wife.
I am,
and of course Mark is the chair of this whole event, so he's been responsible for it, and I guess it's disrupted family life quite a lot, really.
Yes.
and it's been a big part of your life, and obviously your children as well. I mean, they've been involved. I've seen some of the pictures of them sorting stuff out and everything for this.
Yeah.
So what does it really mean, though, to be in charge of the hospitality side of things?
I mean, it's absolutely huge job. Many hours, days, weeks, years has gone into this.
Yeah.
Very, very difficult task to do and the whole team has been absolutely incredible in supporting that. I think for me, I just wanted to make sure that WRTC had, a really good venue. Everyone felt like hospitality was taken care of, and the social side of the competition was also taken care of, where people felt like they could come and socialise and have nice food, have nice drink.
Because it is a real part of it, isn't it? I mean, it's not just the 25 of the contest. I know that's the focus of it, and that's the kind of competition, but there's much more to it than that. And of course, there are people not just from this country, but from all around the world. Yeah,
and it's a massive deal for people. And also, there's a lot of people that are having a holiday coming to support teams. So the whole hospitality side is huge for them. So I wanted to make sure that it was right, and the feedback we're getting is absolutely fantastic, which I'm really proud of.
Of course.
Yeah.
So when did it start for you then? I know Mark was telling us a few days ago when we met him and talking about it. It was a few years ago when he had signed out. How long is it before he said to you, darling, can you give us a hand with this?
Well, the first sort of mention to me was at the end of 2022, but it took a few months to speak about it more, look into it, put a bid together, get a team together. But I was supportive from the start, and he said to me, I think you're going to be great on hospitality. I didn't quite know then how big the task was going to be, if I'm honest. But
is this something that's in your blood because you already do it in the hospitality? Have you done anything like this before?
Yeah, well, I'm an independent travel agent, so I've got which is one of the reasons why.
Yeah, well, it's still a big deal, isn't it?
Yeah, it is huge. It's nothing I've ever done before, but I feel like I've done a good job, and that's the feedback I'm getting.
You certainly have. Yeah, I mean, so all the stations, to put context, is 30 or 40 miles away from here, approximately.
Yes, yeah.
How did you choose this? Because this is Wyboston Lakes Resort, and
Yes.
it's called a resort because it's much more than the hotel, isn't it?
It is.
But it's probably quite an expensive place as well.
Yes.
How did you do much of a search to find the right place?
I did.
To be?
Yeah, and that was very challenging. In the UK, we don't have a lot of very large venues, so I started looking at a few venues that I thought fit, and then I quickly come to the conclusion that it wasn't big enough, because what I didn't want is teams travelling far to hotels. So a lot of the issue was them not having the room numbers, the other venues that could have, we could have held it there. So I started looking more broader. So I ended up limiting it to 3 venues, which was a university, a football stadium, and this Wyboston Lakes Resort. So I visited all of them and obviously spoke a lot to them. But quite honestly, when I came here, I knew in my gut that this was the place, and it ticks a lot of the boxes. So yeah.
Plus the fact that most people could stay here,
Yeah.
which must have been a bit.
Yes.
What was the criteria then? How many people were you looking to house? To give everybody
Yes.
at home now watching this an
Yeah.
idea of how many people are
So
here.
what we wanted, our vision was that all volunteers were welcome. So one thing we didn't want to do is say, sorry, there's no space for you, as a volunteer who's given up their hard work and time. So we were looking at 500 to 600 people initially. We wanted somewhere to accommodate 500 to 600 people. In reality, not everyone's taken up the offer to come, which is personal choice. So we have something like 420 people at our max in this venue. And a lot of previous venues would have been able to take 320. So that just gives you a little bit of an idea. So we would have had to say no to a lot of, unfortunately, would have been volunteers and spectators. We have over 100 spectators on top, so of competitors and referees. So we would have had to cap it, and people that are here wouldn't have been here. So
No, it's wonderful. Well, look,
Yeah.
I can tell you, I can add to the numbers that have been saying it is a wonderful venue, and you are doing a wonderful job.
thank you.
And it is. I can share with you at home. Honestly, I joined the committee only a few months ago, really. Although I've been on the media team and been asked to do that some years ago, but only a few months ago. And wow, when I suddenly got on those WhatsApp groups and saw all the emails and everything that was going on by everybody, it was mind-blowing to me. So the job that you and I know all of our colleagues have been doing, plus all those volunteers as well, shouldn't be
Absolutely,
underestimated. But still, you organise this, and all the hospitality, making people welcome from all around the world.
Yeah.
And we thank you very much for that. Now, as well as everything here, of course, not just content with organising that people are happy here, you have given them the opportunity to visit various places.
Yes.
And one place that they visited recently was the National Radio Centre, which of course is at Bletchley Park.
It was.
And we've got a little bit of a film for that, just to show you at home what that day was like. But thank you very much, Georgina, for joining us
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you. Welcome back. Now we're talking about the National Radio Centre. As you may know, that is part of the RSGB, the Royal Radio Society of Great Britain. It's obviously Bletchley Park is well known, but there is a radio centre there that's really there to introduce people to the world of radio, run by the RSGB. And with me is the Director of Volunteering of the WRTC, but also you happen to be the General Manager of the Radio Society. Just happen to be. So Steve, we've just seen a little film there about the visit to the NRC, but it's a small part of really all of the work that you do, both at the RSGB and here. Firstly, how did you get involved with WRTC?
I had a phone call from Mark,
Right.
who said, we're thinking about doing this, do you fancy joining it? And I said, doing what? Tell me a bit more. And the rest is history, because you got involved the same sort of way, I know. It's got a habit of sucking you in, hasn't it? Because it's got a reputation and it's got so much potential.
But you're Director of Volunteering as well.
I am.
And dare I think that and say that that's probably because you are so well connected to so many volunteers, because that's what the RSGB thrive on as well, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. RSGB is probably about 450 volunteers. I've got 18 staff, but there's about 450 volunteers. So yeah, I've probably got some sort of a connection with volunteering, I think. And Mark led with that, but we've moved it into a few other things as part of WRTC as well. So Ofcom liaison, things like that, you know. So there was a few things, but I was dead keen to get involved. I really was. A contester when I get the time as well. So I was all in.
I think we can see as well when we look back and look at all our colleagues and on the committee, we can see why we're all connected in various different ways. We have different sort of skills. I mean, as well as Director of Volunteering though, I mean, I know that you worked closely with Ofcom to arrange some wonderful call signs for these events.
Absolutely, yeah. Ofcom, we had great support from Ofcom.
But you need the right contacts to be able to do that.
Yeah,
I don't think they listen. I phoned them up and said, "Can I have 50 call signs?"
It wasn't 50; it was 140.
Oh, 150. Sorry, yes.
Yeah. The conversation was a bit interesting. It was, you want what? You know, and we got there in the end, but it was by discussion. We told them why. We explained why. The level playing field was very important for WRTC, you know that. And the range of call signs was part of that. So we had some very good statistics. We knew why we wanted that.
And of course, the RSGB, we're not just using people like yourself as your skills, they're an official partner of WRTC as well.
Yes, a national partner.
A national partner, absolutely.
Right, yeah. And we desperately wanted to support WRTC, and the board of directors definitely wanted to support it. We sponsored a tent, and we wanted to do everything we could. So I think you showed a video just now of the visit to the RSGB NRC, and there we reach out to, we have about 80,000 visitors a year to the NRC. Wow. So we wanted to put that in as part of the tours, because whenever we're at any international events, Dayton for instance, I speak to so many people who say they want to go to the NRC that we had to put it in the tours. But that's our outreach to our amateur radio. But we wanted to outreach to these visitors as well. Of
course, I mean the National Radio Centre, we did see some pictures from there, but what does it have there for anybody visiting?
Well, a demonstrations station for a start, GB3RS, and we try to show lots of different parts of amateur radio. So the satellite stations, some ATV, HF of course, VHF, UHF, some digital modes, because you never know who's going to come in the door and what is going to be their interest.
I was going to say, I mean, although radio amateurs are certainly going to be interested if they go there, it's actually in a way aimed at non-radio amateurs to introduce them, isn't it, to the world of wireless and radio?
Yeah, and the 80,000 I mentioned, predominantly they won't have seen amateur radio before. So we think it's the only place in the world that is introducing that many people and demonstrating amateur radio to them. So very much part of that.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning as well, if you are a member of the RSGB, you can get into Bletchley Park and the NRC completely for free, which is a nice benefit.
Yes, absolutely, and we're very grateful for our partnership with Bletchley Park for that.
Yeah. But, yeah. What about the rest of the role? As I asked Georgina, how's it going? How do you feel now, a few days in, the big competition, of course, tomorrow? But
can I be honest? Really tired.
Yeah, I could concur with that. It's rather warm, isn't it?
Both of us have spoken about that.
Yeah.
But you can hear it, the atmosphere now as some of the competitors are coming back from their station visits. But what made it real for me was the opening ceremony yesterday, where the room was absolutely packed, and you were filming live streaming. But there were so many people there with such a positive atmosphere, wasn't there?
It really just felt like a celebration, a party, and then we haven't even done the contest yet.
And the same this morning with the team draw as well. Everybody was in there dying to know who their referee was going to be, what site they were going to be at, picking up all their equipment, to, their box of goodies, if you like, to go to their site. It got very real, very real, very quickly, and I'm loving it, absolutely loving it.
What's your favourite bit so far, or the bit that you're most looking forward to from now then?
Oh, two answers though. My favourite bit so far was actually welcoming them all when they arrived. So the running the help desk just in reception there, and seeing that everybody arriving with all their radios, with their baggage, their luggage, travelled across the world. Great talking to them all there, and I knew quite a few of them, obviously, not all of them by any means, but that was brilliant. What am I looking forward to now? I'm looking forward to actually the contest starting, because there is going to be a sigh of relief amongst all of us once it's actually going. There's a big sigh when everybody actually arrives. There's going to be another one, and when it finishes, I think that's when we catch up with the sleep. But until then, the adrenaline, we're absolutely on it for a great event.
Good, well that's of course coming tomorrow. Steve, for now, M1ACV, thank you very much. I'm sure we'll be talking again, I've got a feeling. Before then. Now, you said about how much the RSGB relies on volunteers. There's a lot of volunteers that you will see here, but maybe some behind the scenes that you wouldn't see so much. Well, of course, they talked about all the visitors, the competitors visiting the stations today, but they wouldn't be able to do that if those stations hadn't been built. And over the last few days, lots and lots of volunteers have been building those stations all around Norfolk, Suffolk, and a little bit of Cambridgeshire as well. And we've got a bit of a film to share with you, and also meet the person in charge of all those station builders.
Okay, so we're here with Chris Kirby, G4FZN.
How do you do? Hello.
Hello, I'm
Thanks very
Heather,
much, Tom.
and
Yeah, that's fine.
I
Great.
know that you've been in charge with your wife Pauline, G8HQW, of all of the site builds, which is a huge job, absolutely amazing. In a moment, we're going to look at some footage we've taken of some of those builds, the training day, all that sort of stuff, and we're going to have a chat over it, and you can explain a little bit about what's going on. But before we just start that, just tell us how many sites, how many volunteers?
Okay, we've had 50 sites in use for the competition, and we've built a few spare ones as well. So it's about 52, 53 sites in total. And each one has a different story to tell. I won't tell you them all, Heather. But the number of volunteers we've had varies day by day. If you add them all together, we've had 58 volunteers in total, and I think the most we've had on a single day was about 44. I've put them into teams. Some days, if we've had 35, 36 volunteers, we might only have had 4 teams, Saturday and Sunday, and then we moved up to 5 teams, 6 teams. In fact, today we had 7 teams out doing...
A lot of things happening out there.
A lot of things happening, yes.
Absolutely. So as we look at the footage now, we'll see a lot of those volunteers. We started with some on the training day. Tell us a little bit about what happened on the training day. Yep.
Sure, the training day wasn't as hot as it was for the site station building days. We were fortunate to have the training at site number 502, which was quite close to the field we arranged for people to stay in. So we've had a lot of people staying on the camping field. So this training site was very close to that. We were lucky. Wilson Convery, G6ELF, he's the guy who actually did the training. You might see me doing a bit of a pep talk as well. But the training itself was done by Wilson. He did a first-class job. Everybody's looking very smart.
Orange t-shirts.
And the equipment was all delivered in advance, and that's been the story right the way through. Equipment has been delivered to the sites in advance, and then the team turn up and assemble it all together. It's worked very well.
And I believe that you've had some volunteers that have come from abroad to help with the site builds and
yeah, absolutely.
Staying on site in camper vans and things.
Yeah, we've had some Germans with camper vans. One German chap's brought his tent and he came on his motorbike.
Oh, wow.
We've got an Italian working today and a Frenchman, and a couple of Americans as well. Quite well-known DXers as well. Violetta, who is going down to South Georgia on an expedition next year. So
I imagine there's a great sense of camaraderie then.
There has been. We were lucky. The Cray Valley Club put a gazebo up in the centre of the camping field, and that's been a focal point for late night gatherings where we chew the fat.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're ready for the mast to go up now, Heather. Yeah. It's standing on the prop, leaning at a 45-degree angle. At the top of the mast, there's 2 dipoles. There's an 80-metre dipole and a 40-metre dipole. They've got to be fastened on, and then the tri-band beam has to be fastened on. Again, this is the training session, so there are a lot of people standing around doing nothing, but believe me, they're all observing very carefully what's going on. There we are, we get the mast up to vertical. The antenna, it's 20, 15 and 10 metres. It's a 3-element beam on 10 metres and a 2-element beam on 15 and 20. So a pretty good aerial, and of course the important thing is every station has the same antenna, the same mast. Look, it went up in no time. You wind the handle and up it goes. And once it's up, the second set of guys get fastened.
So that they're all watching intently, because they're going to often do that in their own stations or their own sites, to do exactly the same, so everybody has a level playing field and to operate for the competition.
Correct.
But I imagine you mentioned that the training day wasn't quite as hot as we've had recently, but
no, I don't think the sun's out there.
No, it doesn't look like it.
Nice and pleasant.
But some of these sites have been built in sort of 33, 34 degree heat, haven't they?
They have this week.
That must be quite challenging.
Yes, yes. And for the teams, perhaps a team of 8 doing 3 stations in a day, that's quite challenging because it's several hours work, not just radio equipment to put up, aerials and masts. We've got the gazebos, we've got the tables, facilities for the competitors overnight, if you know what I mean. And it's all got to gel together nicely, and it has done, really has. They've worked so hard. I
mean, that's a huge logistical operation, isn't it, to bring, as you say, not just the amateur radio equipment, but the tents, tables, everything that the competitors need, because I believe that they just, in inverted commas, bring their radios and logging computers. Obviously, they bring their skill as well, because that's why they're here, because they're the best of the best, but everything else is provided for them. That's the reason for the level playing field, that it all comes down to skill at the end of the day. Yes, they bring their own radios, but they're all limited to the same power output, 100 watts. Oh, that's a lovely shot, isn't it? This is on the border of the Shadwell estate. I can't work out which team it is at the moment, but we had, I think we have 4 teams on Shadwell all at the same time. Shadwell is one of the prominent estates in East Anglia, home to lots of racehorses, and it's quite secure as well. Good, good. Well, we've finished seeing what was happening there. Looking ahead, obviously, are you finished quite yet? No, well, even as we speak, where are we? Thursday afternoon now. Even as we speak, there are minor issues. We've got no major issues, but minor issues have been sorted out. Most of the stations are on nice flat ground. There are 1 or 2 in longer grass than we would like. And there have been restrictions with nesting birds. There's one site in particular where they're quite rightly interested in nature conservation and so on. So we've had to take advice from the gamekeeper where the pegs could go in the ground. But hey, no problems. It's all assembled and all working. And good. You're still smiling, which is excellent. We've got to take them all down after the competition. And how long do you think that will take? I know how long I've been targeted to. We will go on. It's going to take quite a while. Yeah. It's quicker to get the sites down nice and neatly and without breaking anything, because many of the sites are being sold. But the teams will be on one estate at a time: Euston, Shadwell, Brandon, Elvedon, and they'll do as many as they can on the Sunday afternoon after the competition, but there will be more to do on Monday. So while the judges are going through the logs and everything, you'll be out there taking all the stations down and bringing it all together. Well, you've done a fantastic job, you and Pauline. She's just off camera here. Fantastic team. I've got to acknowledge my wife's help. She remembers all the things that I forget. Spirit to me. So thank you very much for coming in to talk to us today and explaining what's happening on the site builds, and we wish you well for taking them down too. Thanks for having me up. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Heather M70WS was talking to Chris G4FZN about all of the work building those stations. A heck of a lot of work, really. Now I'm going to bring in Lee Volanti, who's G0MTN, and you're the vice chair and also the head of rules, no less.
I've been a busy boy for the last few years. So.
I think this is a common theme here, that everybody is involved. So you're vice chair as well, which means that, you know, I guess I wouldn't say you're really Mark's deputy, but you're helping him and sharing some of the load of the really big stuff in all this.
Yes, yeah, for the big decisions, of course, yeah. It helps to have an extra voice to have a quiet chat with. Are certain things going in the right direction? Which way should we go on particular thorny subjects, and of course, as well as say the defined rules that everyone has, there are so many unexpected little things that will pop up. Perhaps this was not planned for, or that this wasn't what we'd intended to do, and yeah, if we can pick up those activities as well and run with them, helps for a successful
So
project
I'm going to
overall.
ask you, Lee, how you got involved. I've asked everybody else the same. Was this a phone call from Mark, or was it you met him somewhere?
It was a simple WhatsApp message. I think it's probably one of those late at night things, and I'm thinking about putting a team together to put a bid in for WRTC. Oh, that sounds interesting, and I'd followed WRTC for many years. It's obviously a famous event. It's got a lot of prestige and history, and sort of way back now in 2002. WRTC in Helsinki, Finland. I was lucky enough to be a referee.
So I didn't know that.
So
okay,
yeah, I was there. And
so you had some experience,
had
real
some
first-hand
experience of being
of it as well.
on site, and the atmosphere of everyone coming together. So the camaraderie, and so yes, it was an easy decision to say yes. If we can help continue to carry the torch and make sure that there's another WRTC. So yeah, the program continues. Yeah, it was. Yeah, an easy decision to say yes.
Was it as you expected, really? Because I mean, it is a big project, and I talked to Georgina just a little while ago. Mark's wife, of course, is very closely involved too. Was it a bigger project than you thought when you originally said yes?
I think everyone, or say in the early days, that we recognised that it was going to be, say, 3.5 years of our lives before it would all come to fruition, and we realised, it was going to be a lot of work. And we'd seen from our colleagues and the organisers from the other WRTC that yes, it was going to take up a lot of time, and especially in the last months and then the final few weeks, it's completely all-encompassing, and especially those that are working and have had a family as well. So yes, my wife has been very supportive. Although
I think all our partners have actually. This is definitely another common theme that comes out of all these chats. But now, as well as being Vice Chair, which is a very big position, Director of Rules, what does that really mean?
Okay, so as part of WRTC, as I say, 2 or 3 years before the event itself, there has been now what is routine is a qualification program. So the rules for that qualification program need to be set up, identify which contests will count and take part for that. And then there are different points for qualification attached to the different contests, and then for the different categories for single op and multi-op. And whilst they have largely stayed the same between events, there's always the opportunity to tweak it, or there could be some improvements that we could make.
Who's setting those original rules though? That's not you, is it?
It is you. So we generally start from the framework of what has come before.
Okay.
And as now WRTC has matured, people know what they come to expect from it. We wouldn't want to completely throw things out and start afresh. So we were very much of the mindset of evolution, not revolution. So people should still recognise what the whole event was about. But then we had to make certain changes, one of which was because the Italian WRTC had been delayed by a year.
Which of course was the last one because of the pandemic.
Last one. Yeah. So then we only had 3 years to prepare. So so we need to have a constrained qualification program with fewer contests, and then it was working out how that would work.
Any other changes, significant changes?
Also because, as I say, for the logistics, and when we started off and before submitting a bid, Mark and his core team that he gathered, we needed to check that we thought that we had the logistics, the support, and so the area and the sites to put on a WRTC. So we didn't want to be over-ambitious and risk failing. And some WRTC have had sort of 60 or 65 stations to put together. And we felt that there was a risk of not being able to achieve that, so we ended up with 50 sites. But that then has a knock-on effect, as to say, for the different amount of teams that can qualify, or the qualification areas. So I literally spent a long time with a virtual map of the world, and just trying to put that as effectively like jigsaw pieces, trying to work out what the different qualification areas that all the different contestants would be using for their qualification program, essentially qualifying or competing against their local peers, so they're not trying to compete with someone in a different continent where, say, the propagation or the activity levels might be completely different.
Good. Well, it sounds like a heck of a lot of work. Now, today was a very important day for this because we saw competitors and referees and most people arriving on Wednesday. We had the opening ceremony yesterday, which of course we broadcast here live. But this morning there was a draw, which is a very important part of it, where for the first time the competitors find out exactly where they're going to be based. And we've got a film to reflect what's been happening throughout the day and at that draw.
Morning. I hope everyone's feeling a bit more refreshed after hopefully asleep without too many time difference wakes during the night. First of all, just want to say thank you to everybody for settling in and for your flexibility with a lot of the logistical challenges that come with running a WRTC over the past 24 hours. But hopefully everything's okay and you've settled in okay into the resort. Okay, right, we'll kick off with the competitor and referee details then. I'll hand over to Lee Volanti, G0MTN.
Solar weather, and for those been checking out the bands in the last few days, it's not been that great. I think certainly 10 metres is going to be a challenge this weekend, and even 15 wasn't sounding like its good old self. But yeah, we can hope for just say some recovery over the next couple of days. Otherwise, yeah, we'll see you all on 40. The first question that had been submitted in advance was about VFOs. So although now you're in the UK, where the steering wheel is possibly on the wrong side, you can still use the big knob on the left. You don't need to use the one on the right. Okay, so that's useful info. I can't exactly remember the detail of the next question, but I remember the answer. And then on a similar vein, yeah, please make sure that human beings are conducting and completing all of the contacts. So many of you will be operating on sites at the Wyboston estate. So WRTC is very grateful for the support from Wyboston in hosting the sites and also the logistics hub, where our teams of site builders are returning to nightly to have a bit of rest and relaxation. So it's 10,500 acres, a country estate, home of the Dukes of Grafton. And Wyboston as a locality was first mentioned in the Domesday Book in 1086, so just predating WRTC. Cool, so yep, here is your assigned reading material for the assignment. I assume everyone has read all of these from cover to cover and knows them back to front. There may be a test later. Oh, no laughs for that one. Okay. And just looking ahead, so say for the site draw tomorrow at 8:30, so back in here. So the allocation of sites referees and the contest call signs all following the regular tradition.
Next team, 301 for site 301, North America 4. I can't really. Okay. Referee?
Oh, the referee, okay.
115. HV9 Charlie, Alpha Tango. And that was site reference to, what was it, the site reference for that one?
301.
301. You are on bus number 3. Bus 3. Yep. This one, please. This is the next team, yeah. Very good, thank you. Okay, call sign envelope number. Team leader, please pick a call sign.
Which one's the 33?
Number 33, 5933. 33. Okay. I think you have what you need. Okay. The next team for site 302 is Europe 6 Team 1. Team leader, please pick a referee.
12:45 local. We know what's coming. It's that famous time where the referee is relieved that they didn't leave the call sign envelope back at the hotel. So the contest call signs, the special ones that have worked very hard and we're very pleased to have for you to use and should generate lots of excitement. So you all know what they are at 15 minutes before the start. You can update your CW and voice key messages. And at that point, we're saying, yeah, please turn your radio audio down. Yeah, clear the band maps, and yeah, make sure that you're not detecting any information or gaining info from any waterfalls or band maps that you may have. So yeah, please demonstrate to the referee that no monitoring is taking place, and also check that your recording solution is working. And then it's go time. So 12 Zulu will appear. Good luck. 73. Do.
So there we are, that's what happened. Actually, the first part of that film, which I haven't had a chance to look at because it was so current, the second part of it was, of course, happened today, but the first part of it happened yesterday at a meeting, didn't it, Lee? You were telling me. So this is a complex thing for people to understand. Can you just sort of break it down now into very simple rules that people looking in now may not have really understood the rules about the WRTC? Can we just go through the real basics with you now?
So the fundamentals of WRTC is that we've got two-person teams will be operating as a contest within a contest. So the big contest at the weekend is the IARU HF Championship, and then WRTC is just a small part of that. So from 1 p.m. UK local time on Saturday, contest begins on the 5 main HF contest bands: 10 metres, 15 metres, 20, 40 and 80 metres on both CW Morse code and single sideband. And then everyone tries to contact everyone else.
I mean, looking back though, it's a bit more complex, isn't it? In that when we heard the film, and we saw the film with Chris earlier on explaining about the station buildings, a lot of it is very level playing field, very the same, much the same.
Yes.
The antenna, in particular, I guess, would be the most, and the rotator and everything is exactly the same for each station. But they can bring their own radios, can't they?
Yes, I think we recognise that, all of the, today's, top flight transceivers from all of the main manufacturers do have, very similar performance in practice. So that's not going to be, a technical advantage, but the operators got their own different, styles and preferences, and other equipment such as the bandpass filters and triplexers. And if they're using sort of band scopes and waterfalls, they may feel best suits their operating style and strategy. So a lot of thought has gone into the design of the equipment that all the teams have been bringing across, and in some cases from the far side of the world.
Right, and they're all going to, of course, put the magic. I know there's a lot more to it than power, but that's 100 watts, isn't it?
Yeah, just 100 watts.
So there's a referee there to make sure that everything is done right.
Yes. So and as part of the activity today with the site tests, so the teams have been out to test the antennas and test their radios, with the referee just quietly monitoring in the background, just to make sure that that the radios are set to 100 watts. So the rest of the world looking in is in absolutely no doubt that everything is identical and as equal as it can be.
Good. Well, I know we'll be talking to you again over the next, well, particularly tomorrow and onto Sunday, about some of the real details of that. But for now, Lee, we want to have a look at what the competitors think, because Dom, M0BLF, had drew the best straw, really, to go into the bar and talk to some of the competitors about what their strategies and what their thoughts were.
So, which team are you from?
Yeah, I'm from Poland. I'm from a Gascoigne RQ with my teammate SP5Y.
We're from Croatia, but we are a 9A1P team. He's 96KX and I'm 9A1UN.
I am the teammate of NA8V, who is from Michigan.
We're from region Europe 1, which is I'm from Estonia, and my teammate is from Latvia.
Yes, that's true.
Asia number 2.
We are Europe 3, number 1.
Hello, I'm Luca, AK2 PFL, team lead for the EU5 team.
I'm Stefan, AK2 JUB, EU5.
So you're from EU2 Team 2. Is it your first WRTC?
No, in fact it's my 5th.
It's first time in England, but I've been to quite a few WRTCs already. I think this is the 5th one actually now.
No, I think this is my 9th actually. I've done this a little bit.
That must be almost all of them then.
I missed the first one on the West Coast in the US, but the first one was 1996.
I have to admit that never been any WRTC yet, but having these faces and these legends, actually, I just saw M5 DJ and all the others. So,
is it your first time here in Britain?
No, I visited London several times, and even Ireland and other places before.
First time in the UK.
The first time in England, and we hope we will have fun here.
Yeah, I'm first time in Britain, I'm first time in London, and I'm first time in WRTC.
Actually, we are all regulars, so actually 6th time or 7th time, and actually I worked in for almost a year.
Yeah, that's actually my first time ever being in the UK.
In Britain, no, the 2nd time. Actually, I've been to Heathrow Airport probably 50 times in my life, but only 2nd time visiting the country. Last time it was a year ago when we came on training.
And what's your first impressions like?
Lovely weather, like bang on, bang on. No, other than that, I like the. When we drove here, the first thing I was looking at the buildings, because you see, back in Estonia we used to have those British TV series, and you were looking at the houses, and it's exactly like on those TV shows.
I've been in London the first time when I was 13. It was July, pretty much this period. So 40 years ago, I suffered the cold a lot. So I expected the cold weather, not like that.
Talking of the heat, you're going to be in the tents competing for 24 hours. Do you have a plan for dealing with it?
We're thinking how we're going to deal with it, but we know that the night is always pretty cold. So that's the problem, how you can combine that heat in the morning or in the midday with cold night. This is the big question. We're still working on it.
Have you done anything to sort of get to know each other, to practice contesting together?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. We met 2 times for WRTC practice, and we made also some contesting together. For example, at KC1XX during CQ World CW last year and the year before.
Well, we've told a lot of stories. We've talked a lot on Zoom. Short answer, no.
Not really, because we already done several contests together, and we operate in a simple way, just by feeling and looking in the eyes, and that is enough.
Have you done any particular sort of practice, any preparations?
Actually, I gave up more or less the last 6 months fixing, amending the station, having new developments there, and having really extensive analysis on the top 10 guys from Italy, seeing the Golf Bravo 5 and 9 Whiskey radios from previous WRTC, the test sites which happened. Yes, we invested a lot.
Both me and my teammate, we prefer doing the things prima vista. Just get up there and take it the way it comes with you, and then just deal with it.
You have to be honest, not really, but okay, we have some plan.
We packed the bags.
We packed the bags, we put everything inside. We hope that it's still everything inside it's not broken, and that's it.
And what are you looking forward to most this weekend? Is it the competition? Is it the social side? What are you looking forward to?
Actually, both. So socialization is the best of WRTC. You have all the best competitors from the world, and nice to see all friends.
For me, the same. The socialization is very important, and also the competition, of course.
And it's good to see familiar faces, but also putting faces on celebrities too, because we've seen those call signs everywhere on the air.
A little bit competitive side, but I think that here we have a lot of better operation. So our motto is that we are there for fun, not for win.
We are competitive.
It's just fun to be here. It's not all necessarily thinking that you're going to win top spot. It's just to be with such great people under one roof here. That's the excitement of the thing.
There we are. So now you know what some of the competitors think about that today. Well, of course, as I said, today the competitors and the referees have been visiting their sites for the very first time, and we've got some pictures that have just come into us, and we're going to play some of those to you now. Now, on our first show on Wednesday night, we invited you to send us comments and questions as well. And we said if you ask us any questions, we'll try and find the answers. And that's why Lee's still sitting next to me here at G0M2N, of course, who has all of the answers in terms of rules and things like that. And we've had some questions, Lee, you'll be glad to know. So thanks to everybody for those questions, and I'll be asking them in a moment. And I'll tell you in a moment about how you can send us questions as well after this. But Lee, thanks for taking these on. Lee, thanks for taking these on from us. The first one came in actually as an email, and this came in from Dominica I6HWD, and he asks, or she asks, can SWLs participate in the competition?
In the competition. So I think the best way to answer that, or to be part of the WRTC experience, is that so that we have extra support and excitement and lots of people working the WRTC stations. We've been running a special award program, and I think that's probably what this is relating to. So for radio amateurs that contact the WRTC stations, there are certificates that can be gained and downloaded for reaching various tiers of 100s or 200 QSOs, etc., or a sprint award for managing to work all of the 50 WRTC stations, which could be a fun activity to do over the weekend. But likewise also for our shortwave listener colleagues as well, that there is a version for them. So yeah, we're just asking that if SWLs can, say, log down contacts they hear of WRTC stations working others, make a log of those, and they can be sent in after the contest to the email address rules@wrtc2026.org. And
well
then,
remembered.
Thank you. And then we'll prepare and we'll send back an award certificate.
And I guess there's some details on the website as well.
So yeah, the details are on the website. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for that question, Dominico. Next, this came on the YouTube chat. From K1LHO, can anyone work the competitive stations? A similar sort of question, I guess.
So yes, so absolutely. So I guess there are different types of people taking part in the competition this weekend. There'll be the serious contesters who'll be, say, active in IARU and trying to work all the stations. and there may be others that are just, say, more interested in chasing the WRTC stations, and perhaps, say, not so excited about making a good score in the IARU contest itself. But what we would recommend is that even if you only contact WRTC stations or only make a few contacts, please submit a log for the IARU contest, which you can reach via, I think, contests.arrl.org. If you can send a log to them, that will then help with the adjudication process. So the more logs that are submitted, the better. And then likewise for the competitive station, for the amateur license stations, the award program is there as well for certificates, and also physical trophies will be there to the continental leaders. So we think there'll be lots of excitement trying to track down all of the stations on all of the different bands and modes.
And of course people have got to do this quite quickly, haven't they? Because the contest ends at 12 p.m. on Sunday UTC or 1 p.m. UK. And then, of course, we're going to announce the results on Monday evening. So you've really got to get those logs in quickly.
Yes. So the submissions, ideally on the Sunday afternoon, just a few hours after the contest. And for our own award programme, the awards from that will be available indefinitely, so you can look for those in your leisure.
Lovely, okay. A couple of other things, actually a comment that came in from Nick M1DDD, who says the Sandringham School, what a great job they're doing. Of course, they came to visit a couple of days ago and brought some students with them to show them about amateur radio and what the stations are doing. So we must encourage, mustn't we, young people to join in this hobby. And this is a real fun, and the contesting side of this could be a real fun way of getting into the hobby.
Yes, so say I think perhaps the younger generation enjoy the competitive element of it, and so say the higher technological requirements that are there. And some of the best contesters in the world are from the youth generation, and we've got a number of youth teams competing this weekend. So let's see how well they will do. And the Sandringham School visit was great. So our committee member Philip DK6SP did an excellent presentation. I think then the students then were invited to go on air and then looked around the special event station and the antennas that we've got on site, and then meet some of our international visitors.
Yeah, very inspirational indeed. Now the last question is the most difficult of all, I'm afraid. So I don't know if you're going to answer this one. It was actually asked by somebody else, but GM4EMX saw it and he asked for an answer to this. And the question is, why do we have so many roundabouts in the UK? It's true, it's an actual question. Any idea? Because I don't know.
That's true. I never like to answer these on the fly, because I look like that.
But that is a real question that came.
Deer caught in headlights.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it's for more amusement for our American visitors who don't have these things.
All right. Yeah. And we'll see you in a few days. Maybe if you can find out an answer, because I'm asked that as well by some of our overseas friends. But thank you very much, Lee, for joining us today. And you have got a chance to send us a question as well. We're going to put a caption up on the bottom of the screen there. You can send us an email to that. It's mediawrtc2026@gmail.com. Or, of course, you can ask a question here on the live chat or on the comment if you're watching the video later. Now, we're just going to end now. On Wednesday, you may remember, we ended with a weather forecast. Weather's really important if you're doing an outside event, but propagation, which is of course linked to weather but not the same thing, is even more important. So today we asked Steve Nichols, G0KYA, who's the chair of the RSGB Propagation Studies Committee, to come on and tell us what his predictions were for the propagation for the contest tomorrow. And here's what he said. Now on Wednesday's show we had a look at the weather forecast, always important for any outdoor event, but of course for an amateur radio event even more important than the weather is the propagation. And with me, who better to tell us more about the propagation that the teams are going to experience than Steve Nichols, G0KYA. Hello Steve.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Yeah, you're Propagation Studies Committee chair, and so of course you normally do a forecast for the RSGB every week, but you're doing a specific forecast for the stations in our area, aren't you?
Yeah, I mean the propagation in East Anglia doesn't change that much from the propagation in, say, London or south of England, but I think the important thing about this is it's a very short-term propagation forecast for Saturday lunchtime to Sunday lunchtime, but well, we'll see. I've got some good news actually when we get into it.
Jolly good. Okay. Well, of course, just to remind you at home, the actual contest takes place between 1 p.m. on Saturday and 1 p.m. on Sunday, which is 12 p.m. UTC until 12 p.m. UTC on Sunday. So this is the forecast period that Steve's been working on. Over to you, Steve.
All right, then we'll move on then. Well, to be honest, the last week we've had a real roller coaster in terms of HF propagation. We had auroral conditions last Saturday. The K index hit 6.33. Band conditions were very poor, low MUFs, noisy, watery signals, and that was not a good sign, really. But over the last few days, things have improved, and the KP index has been mostly below 3. I say mostly. We've had a couple of occasions when it's gone over 3 to 4. But there we go. But also over the last week, the solar flux index has declined as sunspots have rotated off the sun, down from a high of 203 down to 116. But let's have a look at the sun anyway. So this is the sun as it looks, or looked last night when I put this on there. No, not many sunspots, but look at that big sunspot 4482. Now that's active region 4482. That remains a threat. And NOAA in America puts a risk of a R1, R2 class solar event at 40%. Now, what does that mean? Well, that means that we've already had an X-class flare out of that region. We could have another one. We could have none at all. We could have an X-class flare. The good news is now at this point, if we have a CME off that sunspot, it probably won't reach Earth before the contest has ended. So that's good. But we could end up with some short-term blackouts or SIDs. Sudden ionospheric disturbance as a result of a solar flare from that spot. So, it's risky, but the fact they put a risk of it at 40%, I think it's basically saying we don't know. Also, if we look at coronal holes on the sun, we've had one there, number 73, which has gone past, so we've had the effects of that. So it doesn't look like there are any other coronal holes. So that's good. If we'd had a solar wind stream from one of those coronal holes, that could cause the MUFs to drop, noisy conditions, poor band conditions. So from that perspective, the forecast looks pretty good. But seasoned HF forecasters know that you don't really use daily sunspot numbers to do your propagation predictions. You should use the 12-month smooth sunspot numbers. So I've been off to the Royal Observatory in Belgium and I've got the figures. And we're meant to be using a smooth sunspot number of 87, which roughly equates to a solar flux index of 144. So I've done some propagation predictions based on those two numbers, which is the way you're meant to do it, not the daily figures. So you can see this is 20 meters at 1 UTC in July. And this is the sort of conditions they can probably expect tomorrow on 20 meters. And I'm used the Propy program here, which is based on ICR HF prop. And you can see that, when they start, they'll have good propagation all over Europe, up as far as Finland and Sweden, Iceland maybe, and into the very, very north of Canada. But nothing from the US, I don't think. Might be some stuff from the Far East, but most of the work, I think, will probably be done in Europe at first anyway. We move up to 15 meters. You can see that propagation there is not terribly good. It's not going to be a good band, I don't think, at this point in the solar cycle. I think if they ignore 15 meters, they'd be silly, but I don't think they're going to get many run conditions on 15 meters that are going to give them lots and lots of contacts. And if we go up to 10 meters, it gets even worse. 10 meters, other than sporadic E openings, which are very, very hard to predict and are not necessarily good for a good run condition. They're run conditions when they can maybe contact 10 or 20 stations, in a run. So sporadic E, possibly got to be worth check. It's got to be checked anyway, but we're not going to get F-layer propagation on 10 meters at this point in the solar cycle. So again, I think 20 meters is looking the best one to start on, maybe. If we go on to 1800 UTC, 20 meters looks a bit more interesting at that point. So the whole of Europe, North Africa, looking good, maybe down into Asia. and maybe just might get into sort of Singapore, that kind of neck of the woods. India maybe it might be possible, but you know that's better than it looked at the opening anyway. Again, if we go to 15 meters, then it looks a little bit more promising than it did at 1 o'clock. Europe, definitely. North Africa, maybe some South Africa, and Far East as well. Note there that the chances of any North American contacts are pretty slim at this point. And again, 28 meters at 6 o'clock, I wouldn't even bother. I'd stick on the lower bands, but we'll see. I think all the teams will have a strategy of what they're going to do. And it'd be interesting to talk to them to find out what their strategy is. But I think at this point, I would not almost ignore 10 meters, but it's not going to be a great band for them. 15 meters is leading that way as well. 20 meters at 11 o'clock tomorrow night, looking a lot more interesting. It's the summer, so 20 meters can be open 24 hours a day. So you can see there we've got propagation down to South Africa, across to the eastern seaboard of the US, all of Europe possibly, and North Africa again. So yeah, very, very good conditions, I think. Again, 15 meters, not looking too good at 11 o'clock at night. So again, I think they're going to be looking at maybe coming down to 20 meters or 40 meters for some more activity. And again, 10 meters, no, 10 meters at 11 o'clock at night is probably not going to give them much at all. Now, if we go to 40 meters, that's another good band. This is what it looks like when the contest opens. So good contacts available over Europe, but not much further than that. But go to 11 o'clock at night and it gets more interesting. So again, I think 40 meters will be useful, maybe after dark or around sunset. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see quite a lot of people using 40 meters at that time. And so we've got propagation there down into North Africa and across most of the whole of Europe, actually. So in conclusion then, assuming we have no major solar storm or upsets, 80 meters is going to be a fair band after dark and until sunrise, with the odd DX surprise. So I wouldn't be surprised to see them using 80 meters at night. But I think a better band will be 40 meters after dark, with the whole of Europe being possible and the odd DX surprise. And 20 meters, again, probably the best band overall, open 24 hours in the summer with good DX potential. If we look at 15 meters, fair DX potential during daylight hours, will probably shut shortly after sunset, but it's useful to pick up mults so they can work DXCC countries, on 15 meters, and that will act as a multiplier, so it's very useful. 10 meters, poor DX potential at this point in the sunspot cycle, only open in daylight hours, basically. Some sporadic E potential, but that's very, very difficult to predict and may not be that reliable for long run sessions. But I think if they ignore 10 meters, they'll be making a mistake. But I wouldn't spend ages on there trying to call people and then find that you don't get anywhere. So quick look on 10 meters, maybe sporadic E time. So that's like late morning, early afternoon, late afternoon. But then move on to a lower band maybe. And just looking at 80 meters, that's the sort of thing we're seeing at 11 o'clock UTC. So again, most of Europe, North Africa, possibly workable. Not much DX beyond that at 11 o'clock at night. And 40 meters as well, 11 o'clock. Some good propagation down to North Africa maybe. I think you've got to think about where the main activity is going to be. Maybe North Africa is not necessarily the place. So there might be propagation to an area, but if there's no operators there, you're not going to get much activity. And 40 meters at 11 o'clock at night, again, very useful down into North Africa. So 40 meters is going to be very useful after dark as well. So my thanks go to NOAA and the Space Weather Prediction Center, plus Kevin, V3EN, and his solarham.com. And then to James Watson, M0DNS, and Gwyn, G4FKL for PredTest program, which we've used to produce the graphics for this one. So any questions, David, do you think?
Well, only one really, Steve, because you deal with, normally you're dealing with the country as a whole and maybe sometimes slightly an area, but of course we're talking about 50 stations around a 30-mile distance between them. Do things change very much? Are you able to specify, spots like that for propagation, or is it still fairly generally, say, the east of England?
I think when I did this, I placed the spot definitely on Thetford. So these predictions, I think over the sort of 30, did you say 30 miles?
Yeah, something like that. There's about a spread of 30 miles between all these 50 stations.
In terms of F-layer propagation, there will be very little difference, I think, over that distance. Sporadic E may be different. You could have one station being able to work, others in one particular location, and the others can't hear a thing. It's very much spotlight propagation with sporadic E. But F-layer, no, there shouldn't be much difference, I don't think, between all of the stations. So it's a relatively clear playing field, or level playing field, I should say.
Thanks. I mean, people are looking at this from all over the world, and Britain, I guess, to many countries would seem like a place where it's always raining or something like that. Of course, we all feel like we're feeling the heat and the weather seems extreme. In fact, just in this region, the East Anglia region, I live about 40 or 50 miles from here, as you do, and I just had realised they're now going to ban hose pipes from now. So it is really a very dry period. What does that mean for radio amateurs generally with propagation?
I don't think the weather has much effect. I did once visit a station. He said, "Oh, it's great." He said, "We get really good propagation when the sun comes out." And I thought, no, it doesn't work like that. But
this has got a solar-powered station, maybe.
Yeah, but no, the weather has very little effect on HF propagation. It's all ionospheric, which is way, way, way above the weather. So, it's a case of annoyance more than anything. If you're too hot, too cold, too wet, it's annoying.
It is. I mean, these 50 stations, there's going to be 2 people per station plus a referee, so there's 150 people going to be maybe baking in these tents for the 24 hours over then. Just finally then, leaving the contest just a moment away, what do you think that the near future holds for us as radio amateurs? We're seeing the end of solar cycle 25 now. I think most people would agree with that. But what do you think for the summer? Is it going to be a good operating season?
Well, the summer is never really a good time for propagation. I think it will be up and down. We'll see good days, bad days, as we end up with either sunspots or no sunspots. I think propagation will improve come October, November, F2 layer propagation, that is. So if you want to see some good propagation into North America, say, come October, it will really take off. But we're really in the doldrums. It's the summer doldrums. Okay, 20 meters is open nearly 24 hours a day, but on the whole, it's not the best month for propagation.
Although there is some sporadic E, I think, just popping up in some of the bands at the moment.
Yeah, sporadic E is a godsend, really, but it's very hard to predict where it's going to land. You can't say with any certainty, oh, this is definitely where you're going to be able to work. It's down to Jim and his magic there to work out the best time sporadic E. There are some guidelines, as I said, late morning, early afternoon, late afternoon are the best times. 10 meters is probably the band people most associate with sporadic E, although it can affect everything, really, and you get sporadic E effects on 20 meters, 15 meters, and 10. But one thing I would say is that the good thing about the contest is that they're missing out the WRC bands, so they're on 80, 40, 20, 15, and 10, which makes it easier to do propagation predictions because you haven't got to worry about 12 meters and 10 meters and 24 megs as well. But it'll be interesting. I'd be interested to talk to some of the contestants about what their strategy is. They must have a strategy. They must know where they want to start work and where they're going to go next.
And of course, that's where all the skills are going to come in because they've got near identical stations apart from the radios themselves, the same amount of power though for everybody. Yeah. So it'll all be about the strategy and probably a little bit of luck as well. But thank you very much, Steve, for sharing with us your propagation forecast for the contest. That's Steve Nichols, G0KYA, who's the chair of the RSGB Propagation Studies Committee. Thanks, Steve.
Okay, no problem. Thanks very much.
I spoke to Steve a little bit earlier today. Well, that's almost it from this WRTC today. Now, this is the eve of the big contest. What this is really all about. And of course that tomorrow is at 1 p.m. UK time, 12 p.m. UTC, and it goes on for a full 24 hours. And we're going to be with you all the way, as we promised to do. You can see us tomorrow half an hour earlier than that, at 11:30 or 12:30 UK time. So we look forward to seeing you then. Wherever you are today, thank you for joining us, and we look forward to tomorrow for the WRTC 2026. Have a good day.